Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Long time no see, podcast listeners, podcast viewers. Hello. Excited to be back. ABB, how you doing today?
Good, man. Great to have you back. I mean, it was a ton of fun with Jason. Thanks. Shout out to Jason for holding down the fort. Again, I don't think it's unofficial. Official third member of fourth. We got to count side guy, right? So official fourth member of the In the Bag crew. I mean, he's the OG, right? Episode 1.
That's true.
Phantom Menace. I'm going to start calling Jason the Phantom Menace now. I just thought of that. That's
Jason
funny.
is the Phantom Menace of In the Bag.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I love it. He's got a little more hair than Darth Maul had, but
It's true. That could change. That could change.
Although I'm sure I just made that comment, and I'm sure someone in the comments is like, "Well, Darth Maul isn't actually the Phantom Menace."
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're not here to debate Star Wars. We're here to talk about.
He's in that film.
Yeah. What can I say? Right. Well, anyway, it's good to have you back. Are we going to have a usual episode today? I mean, not necessarily, but kind of. I think we kind of did something similar to this last year, but definitely want to check in. A lot of stuff's changed for you, like both personally and coming up this year for your game. Same thing for me. We're going to talk through that. We're going to talk through maybe like some tips and tricks for pointers. If your life is changing, how does disc golf become or stay a part of that workflow, that life flow, whatever. And then definitely want to talk about what's in our bag, what's in, danger of coming out of the bag, what should, but we're not going to give up on, that sort of thing. So I'm looking for a nice check-in for everybody, including ourselves, because I think that exercise will be good for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. You talk about life change. Like I'm chuckling because I did not realize it. And depending on how Silas cuts the frames and all of that, I'm laughing because I literally have the baby bouncer is in my screen now because I forgot to move it. I checked it just a second ago. I was like, oh snap. Cause that's when, I just put him in there. So
that's funny.
The reason we dipped out for a little bit, my wife and I had our first child, on December 12th, which is super cool. So he is, a month old today.
Oh,
which
nice.
is super fun. So we got to figure out what we're doing for the super cheesy,
my baby's 1 month old. Yeah.
Yeah. So my thought is donuts. I think it's
perfect.
hilarious to do a box of donuts next to him, and we just slowly add donuts to it. But yeah, so we're celebrating, getting used to that. It's definitely a world of trying to figure out where you can adjust things, how you can get into rhythms. Brad, y'all have a little one in the house. It's wild how much life kind of goes on pause, and then how hard basic tasks become. But I think a big realization we're having to have in my personal life is realizing I have so many hobbies. I love hobbies. My wife always judges me because she's not a hobby person. She's every time she tries to dive into a hobby, it lasts for 3 weeks, and then she's like, nah, I just don't care.
Yeah.
So I love hobbies, but I like hobbies that I can just dump a lot of time and skill into and become better. If I'm going to play a video game consistently, I want to play a video game that I get better at, not I just am playing. Yeah. I want skill intense, head to head. Here we go. And I'm realizing there's just less free time. Yeah. And so I can't be into trading card games and board games and video games and disc golf and all of this. So it's definitely finding this rhythm and this pattern of how do you lay them down for a nap? Okay, I'm going to go putt because I've been putting every day in the month of January. And so it's okay, we lay them down and I'm a little tired, got to go putt, or I'm a little tired, I need to rest because the putting practice isn't going to be that effective. So for those of you heading into the new year, you have these new rhythms and also new goals of you want to achieve this distance this year. You want to make these putting things. I would say write them out, lay them out. Writing them out is going to be huge. And then start writing out some steps that you want to take. And I know that's super cheesy. Everyone says that for New Year's resolutions. But I think in your disc golf game, especially for your hobbies, it can be very easy to just get complacent in them.
Yeah.
So fire away. What is a good goal? I think of a goal that I heard the Bogey Bros say, because they kind of threw out some New Year's resolutions, and one of Hunter's was that he wants to practice and get good enough at putting that when he has a bad putting performance in a video, people say, oh, Hunter's putt seemed really off today, instead of Hunter's just trash at putting. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think about that and I'm like, that's a great goal. I think that's super good. What is it like? How does that work into that? Just does his lunch break include a 10-minute putting session every day? Because I bet if his lunch break included a 10-minute putting session every day, I can almost guarantee that he would see that. So take it, depending on how big, even if your goal is huge, I want to throw 450 this year, set little markers, set little guidelines. And we would love to hear in the comments, like what some of your disc golf dreams and goals are for the year and how we can help achieve them.
Yeah, for sure. And I think just for me, I tend to give myself very rigid goals. And what I actually try to do this year is give myself less rigid goals, have a little more grace with myself on goals. I think I'll actually accomplish more that way personally. Yeah. So like, you know, I just put like for disc golf, I want to throw over 400. I know I have like the strength to do it. I don't have the mechanics yet figured out, but I think like instead of being like, all right, this year is the year I'm going to be over 900 rated and throw over 400 feet, blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, okay, I want my C2 percentage to be respectable. I don't have a number on that. Just kind of the thing where if I step up to like a 35 footer, someone's gonna be like, he could probably make this. Like, that's kind of what I want. That I also want, I want to throw I want to be able to throw 375 consistently. I know I can throw that far, but I think it's just going to cause some changes. And what I'm allowing myself is this year, I'm okay if my scores get a little worse because my accuracy is going to decrease as I'm increasing my distance probably. Because I'm going to have to work all of my form and timing basically. So I'm giving myself the window of like, okay, I want to throw farther. 375 is really the goal, just measurable time after time after time. But I'm also letting the other things slip. Like, okay, well, I'm not going to focus so much on my scoring. Also known as, I really want to get above 900 rated, but this is not going to be the year for that. I'm not shooting for that this year. I would rather get a better driving form and more distance there, make sure my putting is continuing to be good and maybe increasing in accuracy, and then we'll worry about that next year. But this is a building year, and I'm just kind of looking at hey, these are the things I want to tweak. I just want to try to tweak those. And I guess maybe my goal is to not be satisfied until I get there and don't get stuck in because where last year I feel like I got kind of stuck. My bag was kind of stuck. I was kind of stuck because I was getting better, but I just didn't want to backslide in order to invest for future gains, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So that's kind of where I am right now with it.
Yeah, and it's like this thing in the hobby, right? It's one thing. It is not even almost. It is literally easier for us in the disc golf space because it's like, okay, I can invest time to try to improve my game because it's part of my job is to throw discs and to understand how to improve. And so if I can make myself improve, not only can I learn lessons of doing that, but I can help guide others in that lesson as well. For you, it's not necessarily part of your job. If we were to look at your overall job description, it's not like, okay, Brad needs to be able to play 900 rated disc golf or else he's fired. That's just not true.
Yeah.
But you are I said this in a video that I shot, I think yesterday, of talking about, with a mold that's working its way into my bag. I realized is here are the 5 people that I feel like are the main faces of content in Foundation. And they are Hunter, Trevor, Connor, Brody, and me. They are the 5 faces. And then you have 3 other people that are being worked in heavily to Foundation content. And those are Silas, you, and Jason. Right. I feel like you add this team of 8 people. This is the, if you're going to see people throw in a standard video and there's no guests involved, those are the 8 people. And so to make better content, it helps if we play better. It's one thing to watch people struggle, but it's another to oh, okay. There is kind of a joy to that. So
yeah, I just want to hang with the boys, if we go out and play. I don't want, Jason and I want to be competitive enough that maybe we're okay, Trevor needs a little bit of the advantage if he's taking on both of us in doubles, not Trevor has to be handicapped and we're playing doubles. You know what I mean? I think that's where we want to be.
Yeah. And so I think that is definitely we can invest some time. But if it's a hobby for you, you're okay, I only get out once a week. I don't really want to spend that once a week going to field work sessions. So how do I improve my game? And that's where I would say, like, if you go out once a week, take a month and just look at where are you using the most strokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you play, is it your drives are bad, or are your upshots leaving you long looks? Or are you just missing all of your putts? Like what there's somewhere during the hole where it's like, if you just mark drive, upshot, putt, okay, circle that, make a note. Was it 2 putts because I missed the putt, or was it 2 putts because my upshot was bad?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where are you seeing, or if it's drive, upshot, putt, or like, yeah, then we need to work on putting.
Mm-hmm.
Our drive threw us in a bad place that the upshot wasn't great. Whatever, like, or I couldn't scramble. Just writing those notes down so that in the fringes, you can use your time more effectively, because we don't all have the same weaknesses of our game.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to work on right now is not what Brad's trying to work on. It's not what Jason's trying to work on. It's not what Hunter's trying to work on. We all have things we can work on, but identifying those is going to be huge, especially when you have a minimal amount of time to do so. And I think one of the ways that we can do this is by keeping our bag sort of dialed in and focused, but also switching things around at times so that it keeps it fresh. Because I think if your bag gets super stale, you're like, you almost end up, and I'll talk about this in mid ranges here in a second, but like you almost, because you get so comfortable with something, you're like, I'm going to lean on a different disc, like a wild disc or a crazy option. And then it actually makes you play worse.
Right.
Because subconsciously you do not realize you are bored with your bag.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating place that I did not realize I was at until I worked in this mold recently. So, Brad, you talked about an exercise that I think is really good, where we're going to kind of walk through the things we have in our bag and go in section by section and saying, what are we feeling confident in? What's on the chopping block, and what is most likely already out the door. So just kind of a double in the bag at a somewhat accelerated pace, but not like, we're not like, I have this here, you know, working through the conversation. So, Brad, you have switched putting putters for the year.
I have. Yeah. Thank you all for everyone that voted on that. I'm going to be real honest. I was very glad that the Rico folks came out of the woodwork and finished that one for me. Not that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the P2. It's just really deep. And I didn't really think about that a ton until Robbie shoots me a text like, hey, hope you like a noodle dish to like putt with. And I'm like, oh, geez, I didn't even think about that.
That was going to be tough.
Yeah, it was going to be a tough look. So, but happy with the Rico. So I actually... we did the Rico. If you saw on the Instagram reel, I was like, hey, we're doing our first putting league of the year tomorrow. I want to make sure we get a disc switched out for then. So Rico was honestly one of the ones I was really pulling for. I was like, I'm fine with the Rico. I'm fine with the Keystone. I'm fine with the Luna, because I putted with the Roach before. So like any of those three, I was fine. I was even fine with the P2 until I really actually thought about it, until it was right in front of me. But I was like, okay, Rico's great. Went to the putting league, threw a couple practice putts, like maybe 3. I threw all 5 before the stream, and I was like, oh no, this could be bad. Because what I didn't realize is, okay, first caveat is the Ricos that I pulled are all 175, which was probably a mistake. I didn't think that would make that big of a difference for me, but looking back, my butters from last year are 170, and they're more glidey. So it really just felt like I was throwing like a chunk of ham like at the basket. And like the putt that I was like, I got comfortable with the butters was more like I'm pushing more than I'm spinning, but like at the end of that like release, I'm really spinning my fingers. The Rico did not like that for whatever reason. Today I putted. I was a little frustrated, and I putted more after the putting league yesterday. Still was bad. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a rough year for me. Put him down. Came to the warehouse today. Jason and I were talking. He's doing the pures, so he changed his for the year. Thanks to a Patreon vote for that one, Hyzer Club. And I had him here on my desk. I'm like, okay, I think I figured him out. I told Jason this before we left yesterday too. I was like, I think I've got this. I think I figured out what I have to do. I have to like actually, it's almost like cornhole style. I have to like really pop them up in the air because they don't like to stay in the air. So I have to really like give them that like trajectory, that like arc in the air. And I went 5 for 5, and I set them down. I'm like, okay, I think we're going to be okay. Probably from like 20 feet, maybe a little more than 20 feet. So all that to say, Ricos are new. It's going to be a learning curve. I'm putting with K3 hard, which I like a more firm putter. And these ones are also like a little slick. They're all in the basket right now. So going to be a definite change up. So I'm going to change my putting style a little bit. Less movement in my, like, I guess, push forward, more like pop up on my toes, which I don't know if that's correct or not, Robbie, but that's really what I'm working with on the Rico. So going to be a fun year for that.
Yeah. I've thought of this video while I'm out there of like 10 minutes, 10 tips for putting. And it is literally just, here are all 10 of the people, like here are all of these foundation staff members. Mm-hmm. And here's a tip I would change about your putting. Here's a tip I would change about your putting. Here's a tip I would change about, like, walking through, like, I think it would be a funny setup of just showing, like, these are all people that play disc golf on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And putting can look so vastly different. So yeah, no, I think that the finger pop is definitely something that less people are using. Mm-hmm. And they're not using their fingers to engage in the putt in terms of like actually popping them. It's just much more, it's disguised. We think we're using our fingers, but we're actually like wristing it.
Yeah.
And
more
getting
like
fling with it.
Yeah. So I think really what I have to do with the Ricos are a little more similar to like your style putt, Robbie, if I'm thinking about it. More of like the cuts, kind of like a Calvin does that too, right? Like a come down and pops like straight up kind of thing versus I was definitely doing more of like a sling, like, you know, with my top fingers probably with the butters,
which makes sense when we've talked about before at putting league, where you're like, I feel at 35 feet I feel like I can make a decent amount, but then you get maybe to 20 feet and it's like, okay, I could be way off or way on type deal.
Yeah.
And if it's more of a sling, those longer distances, you kind of like have more room to kind of feel like you can actually send it. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you're shorter and you're trying to do that, the basket gets there so fast that it just feels like, oh no, I almost have to like throttle down my speed, which throws off the putt.
Yeah.
Type deal. We're using Birdie Blend putters, Birdie Blend Wizards this year. No surprise. When you get to work with a company to build your own plastic blend, you don't really move away from it.
No.
And I love them. It's been fun because I'm like putting every day. We didn't get the snow that y'all have up there yet, but Brad, it is supposed to snow in Birmingham, Alabama tomorrow.
Wow.
Like we are supposed to get like Nashville, which is only 2.5 hours north of us. Nashville's getting like 5 to 7 inches.
Ooh. You might have some real snow.
So we might actually get snow. If I had to guess, it's going to be ice, but it's like, it's 40 degrees out right now. Low today is 22, and it's supposed to drop into the 20s tonight when everything starts coming in.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. My little northern loving heart is like, please give us some snow. But Birdie Blend, the big thing that I wanted out of it was I wanted some grip and some tackiness to it, which is, I feel like when I have putted with Casey Pro in the past in the cold, it feels like I'm putting with icicles.
Right.
And I am so grateful because this is really my first winter with Birdie Blend because we got it in March of last year. And so my first winter, and it's immaculate, y'all.
That's
awesome. Loving it in the winter. So
that's
really,
great.
really fun.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to do that. I was actually on the phone with Mr. Dave McCormick 2 days ago. So we're discussing that, and we'll tease it. We got another stamp coming out for you on him. So looking forward to that as well.
Excited. This stamp is the stamp is something that is actually available for merch for you guys if you head to Foundation's website right now. And shout out the man who inspired me using that phrase. He passed away in 2012, but he was like a father figure to me in high school. And his kids, actually one of his kids bought like 3 or 4 shirts of that logo so that they wore them for Christmas morning.
That's awesome.
They were like, thanks for getting us our the shirt that we're going to wear on Christmas morning to honor Dad. And so
that's so cool.
Yeah, really, really cool. So it's a great stamp. I'm so proud of it and just the positivity that it brings to the world. So I hope you guys love it.
For sure.
Okay, throwing putters.
Okay.
Throwing putters in general, we'll lump approach into here.
I'll say that's
Brad.
great. Yeah. No surprise. Zone's not going anywhere.
No.
It is my 2025 resolution I'm giving up on forehand only zones. I'm going to try to backhand the zone more and more and get comfortable with it. Because there's just no excuse for that. At the end of the day, it just was becoming a weird bit. And I was like, why don't I do that more? I know it's not necessarily comfortable, but I mean, the Quake wasn't at first, and I love the Quake now. So I just, 2025 is the year of get over it. That's what it is. So I am going to both backhand and forehand the zone. I think that'll also give me like a little bit more freedom in approaching, because I think like the envies that I like are not as like overstable as I want them to be, and it makes me end up doing weird stuff like putting too much hyzer on them or like trying to flex them and then not coming back enough or whatever. I think it'll give me like some stability on those like really overstable like approach shots that I need both forehand and backhand. So I'm happy with that. I have not decided this yet. I think I'm going to experiment. The envy is not going anywhere, but I think what I might do is where I'm relying on that. I like my like more neutral electron envy that's beat in, that's like pretty straight, that has a little bit of fade. But I really feel like I'm making a lot of errors when I'm like, okay, I need like an understable throwing putter. And like, I don't feel like the envy I'm relying on me to put enough hyzer or not enough hyzer on it. And I mess up a lot with that shot. So I'm really maybe looking to replace that really understable, cryptid disc, if you will, envy, and maybe put something in there. Like, I've really thought about the PA5, if I'm being honest with you.
Great disc.
Yeah, I feel like it's a great disc. Every time I pick it up, I like it, and I feel like it'll do exactly what I want it to do, just off the shelf. I can get it in more of like a premium plastic, which might be nice. I don't know if I want it base or premium. I need to play with it a little bit, but yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I'm still going to stack the envy like overstable and then like a neutral envy. I may even try like to throw my Eclipse envy back in there as well. I realized I didn't throw that at all last year. I didn't have one at all, and I love that Eclipse plastic. So anyway, I might throw my Snorlax one in just for fun.
Yeah.
And anyway, so yeah, I think really the only danger there, I guess the positive is I might add another zone, like just to have a couple. Maybe like on the other side of the envy, like just one I'm really intentionally keeping overstable. I have my like Z Flex Jawbreaker one that is like less overstable, and I have like a Z one. So I don't know. I might just keep those two. I might throw another one in there. Who knows? But it won't serve a different purpose. It might just be for some comfort. Overstable envy, neutral envy with a little stability is going to stay, but definitely I think I'm going to try PA5 for that understable spot. I think I want to look to a different disc. I want a disc that is good at that, not something that I have to like beat up or find that's good at that.
So I'm talking with Will Schustrick currently about a approach series, possibly here on the channel. And he was like, what discs would you want? And I was like, honestly, I want to show people that you can use the A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, but you can also use the PA5 to do this. And he was like, ooh, yeah. So I think that we're hopefully going to be showcasing that. A little spoiler and teaser for you guys coming around the corner. So as far as things not leaving the bag for me, until Innova decides to pull their head out of the sand, the Zone GT is not going anywhere. I'm back and forth. I guess the zone's not going anywhere is the best way to put this. I'm back and forth on whether I still want it to be the Zone GT, just for really two reasons. One, the Zone Ringer Top GT is so overstable. Like it's notably more overstable than even a traditional like Z Zone or ESP Zone. And also, I want you guys to be able to love discs that I'm loving, and it's just not going to happen with the Zone GT. And so because of that, it's like, okay, well, do I switch to like a standard zone? So I've had a couple rounds lately that I've messed around with throwing just a stock Z zone and a stock ESP zone. Really enjoy them. It's been really cold, so I don't feel like I've gotten a good read on them, whether it's like I'm over grip blocking them or they're still actually really overstable. So pigs, Precious Child's not going anywhere. Straight Pig is still in there. I would say Straight Pig is feeling very comfortable until Innova once again doesn't pull their head out of the sand long enough that one of my zones beats in.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty of premium plastic zone is I don't think that's going to happen for a year.
Right.
So like, I don't think that I'm going to get to a point, unless I'm just like crazy, where I'm using a premium zone so much that I'm like, oh yeah, now it's just really straight. So I don't think that straight picks in worry. The one that's on the chopping block is my main throwing putter slot. So I have a Glow Praxis in the bag right now, Brad.
Interesting.
TSA in that bag. Glow Praxis. It's stable. It's just the slot that it's trying to beat is I have this Tour Series Luna that goes so far.
Yeah.
It's just silly what it does. I went and played around with that Tour Series Luna, the 2020 Tour Series Luna, and a ESP zone and my Birdie Blend putter. And I won the round by 4 strokes against the people I was playing with. Just those 3 discs.
Yeah.
Because the Luna, I was like just smashing this Luna out into the distance. So it's hard for me to pull the Luna out of the bag. You'll notice as we go higher that Discraft is trying to make a very heavy presence in my bag. I'm aware of it, and I'm making some adjustments along the way. So I think the Luna is going to stay in there. And then the other sneaky one, Brad, I don't have a polecat in my bag right now.
Okay. I mean, no pig, no polecat. That would be the day, huh?
Yeah. So Precious Child and no pig for the overstable slot. We still have pigs in there for throwing and all that. But
I'm just saying, just imagine if at some point.
Yeah. And if it's just keeps not having love for the pig, and it's like eventually things just season in. I mean, that. And it was on a clock, because time is only just making my zones more beat in. I'm just saying. Right. But the polecat got pulled because of a failed video at New London. And then I went through the rest of the month and I was like, guys, the Discmania Spore is kind of filthy. Like, this thing is really
fun too. Yeah. I like the feel of, I typically don't like super gummy plastic, but I really like the Spore. It's fun. And the best point, Trevor made this point, like, I don't know, a week or 2 ago in the Weekly Warehouse. He's like, oh, you want something that flies like the Glitch, but doesn't hurt your hand when you catch it. And I'm like, that is a good point. Because I always keep a Glitch in my truck, just because you never know. I've pulled it out so many times, like at a family get together or whatever. You're just hanging out with the family and you're in a field. It's a nice day. I'm like, I don't want to throw an ultimate lid. I want to throw something else. And you pull out the Glitch and you just bomb, like, pass it to each other. But if you're trying to wing them close on forehand, that can get a little sting from that gyro rim. So Spore is fun to catch. But yeah, I think it's so are you use it for the same thing as your polecat? Are you like doing like the Scoob approach and everything?
I'm using it. I'm not throwing hammers with it because I don't know that the gummy plastic can handle it. So the real hunt is I'm trying to hunt down a Cloudstone, because I would love to see how it feels in that like more rigid plastic, because even in the gummy plastic, I mean, it goes so far, it glides a ton, and it actually can handle the like Hyzer forehand pretty well. So it does a lot of the things like the polecat does. It just feels a little better. And yeah, it's overall a good disc. I could see the polecat finding its way back in for sure. But right now the Spore is it's a lot of fun. I look forward to shots where I'm like, ooh, I'm like 70 feet out from the pin. Okay, let's throw this in, shall we?
Yeah.
So it's been fun. But jumping up to mids.
Can I say one thing about putters really quick, which it just made me, what you said just made me think of it. The shot I'm really missing from my bag is like a floaty nose up, like backhand approach if I really need something. And I don't feel like I have a disc that will do that. I also want to say that I think the PA5 will be great for me for that. I know I can put it on kind of low RPM nose up and it's not going to like dive on me. It's going to kind of just be straight. And I think that is also another reason I'm looking for a very specific, because even low rotation, like my really understable Envy, if you put it nose up on low rotation, it's still going to be overstable. Yeah.
Oh, totally. I think that's a great choice. And I'm here for it. Another one that I would look at is the Range by Streamline. Yeah. There was only in space races, but I'd imagine in 2025 that we're getting some stock ranges.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed for that one. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. Mid-ranges. So this is really like the area of my game I really feel the best about. I don't really foresee any changes other than this. So right now, I think the uplink is going to continue. I might just keep the uplink in my bag for the vibes, for like fun shots. If I really just want to like throw that like super flippy standstill, whatever I want to throw, right? But as far as like, am I using it in my every round? Absolutely not. It's just going to be like a here there disc. So I kind of have it in my practice bag in my truck right now. So it's just kind of in there because like if I feel like there's going to be a course where I want to try it, or it's like feeling like one of those days, I'll try it. But I think going understable, I think my origin's like kind of beat in now. So it's like got that nice like Hyzer flip turn, pretty easy action going on. So I'm liking that. The Lobster has come back in my bag. I love that disc. I think it's a great disc, but it tends to be like a little bit more stable than my Origin. So again, like kind of giving them like tinier steps. Moving up to my Fission Hex, it's just straight. If I release it a little bit straighter or like a tiny bit of ante, if I don't intend to, it'll just kind of like very slowly glide to the right, but not a ton of turn. The slot that I'm really looking for is between like that Hex and my Apex Bobcat, because that Apex Bobcat has beaten up a little bit. It's still overstable. It's pretty overstable, but not like as overstable as my Glow Quake, my Midnight Flyer Quake. So right now I have an Eclipse Hex between my regular Hex and then that Bobcat, but I just don't ever, it's just not, for whatever reason, I love the Hex. It's just not as comfortable for me. So I don't know if I need to throw like a normal Neutron Hex in there and just like leave that. And that will be more of what I'm looking for, like a straight to slightly stable versus like, I don't know. I just can't get the feel with the Eclipse Hex. I don't know what's going on with that. I gave it a year or two, and I'll never pull it out because I'm not confident with it. I think it's just like, I don't know. I don't know why. So I think the only thing I'm really looking for is like that slot. And again, I think it's maybe a Neutron Hex is what I want in there versus like a Fission. Maybe like a 175 Hex or something like that. That I know it can still hit hard. It'll go just like pretty straight, but I don't have to worry about it like crashing out at the end. I don't have to, you know what I mean? So I think mid-range, I'm pretty happy with my layout, just that one particular area.
Yeah. I think that the Eclipse Hexes are, I feel like half the time you throw them, they fade like a ton. Like they feel like they have that hook to them. Yeah. And then the other half, so you get used to that. And then the other half of the time, they just hold super straight. And so I feel like that's where the inconsistency and lack of confidence comes, is you're like, I don't know if I put it on Hyzer and it decides to be hooky, like I'm in trouble. But also if I don't put it on Hyzer because I expect it to be that, and then it just holds super straight, and then I end up in trouble, like going OB long or straight or whatever it may be. So that is the Hex. Couldn't find a slot in my bag for a long time because of that. Like I always felt like my Fission Reactor and my Glow Hex did the same thing, but my Fission Reactor just had a little more hook to it, guaranteed. And so I was like, I lose a little bit of shot shaping in terms of the straight shot, but I'm just going to have to be okay with it. So my mids are where the biggest, probably the current biggest, today, the biggest change has already occurred, is in my mids. Where I anticipate another large change coming is when a mold that has already been discussed is actually released to the public, and it seems like it could hold the spot really well. So, that's fairways. And mids, the Justice, not going anywhere. That's super overstable, really reliable slot. I remember having conversations with Wes way back when, talking about the Ursus, and I was like, here's the deal. I use that disc so rarely. Like it's maybe once every 3 rounds am I using the Justice, but because I use it so rarely, I don't have time to like learn a new disc in that slot. So the Justice just works. It crushes. It's so fun. I have a great Justin at Disco Dies did a great dive for me on one with Pixel Hulk punching like a wave. It's so fun.
That's great.
And then you jump over the main part and go to Mako 3s. I have Mako 3s in the bag, really enjoying them. Y'all came out of the woodworks for helping answer on the call for blue ones because I hate orange discs and I only have an orange Mako 3. So thank you guys. So got that and have some backups ready. So now I'm officially ready to punch like Let's Be Mako 3. And just I've pulled a lot of Innova out of the bag, so it's a nice nod to we don't hate them. The sole has been really good. I'm enjoying the sole. The sole's on the chopping block, Brad, because I look like a Discraft sponsored player when I tell you what I'm adding in, and that is the reactors are out of the bag.
Okay.
Which is something I really never thought I would say. But the reason the reactors are coming out, because I could not tell you the last time I threw either of my reactors and I was like, oh my gosh, that shot is so crazy cool. Like it's just so insane.
Right.
And I don't know if that's because I'm so confident in them that I just expect the great shots out of them. So I am not blown away by them. Or is it like I've just gotten complacent? So what I found is, and this is what I kind of teased earlier in the episode, I just don't throw my reactors that much. And I like try to throw these silly flex shots with the Justice, or I'm trying to get these Mako 3s to like throw them on this much Hyzer and have them stand up a little bit and do reactor shots when like they're just not supposed to.
Right.
So I've pulled the reactors out and I have put buzzes in the bag.
Never thought I'd see the day. Buzz and zone.
A buzz and a zone. My Patreon is vomiting about like, because I was like, guys, I'm trying out the buzz. And they were like, really? You have buzzes and zones in your bag. Who are you? Where's Robbie C? If he hit blink twice, if you're safe. Like it is. So I was like, I have so many buzzes. I have so many awesome buzzes downstairs because at Foundation, we love a custom buzz and we run a lot of really sick custom buzzes. And so I was just looking through because that's one of the projects I did with Leo is I like reorganized all my discs and I was like, well, that's a cool buzz. That's a cool buzz. Oh, that one's cool too. And so I started looking and I felt it and I held on to it. And that was my intrusive thought of having a kid was, I think I may want to try the buzz. So I'm running a series. Episode 1 drops next Thursday and it's buzz battles. And it's the buzz versus the reactor is the first episode. And then we're going to do the buzz versus the rock and the buzz versus the hex and all these other mids. And I think it's going to help me come out on the other side, either way more confident in the buzz or like way more confident that the reactor was the right disc all along. And I now tried out all the other options. So the soul's coming out and I think I'm putting an uplink in.
Okay.
For that super flippy vibe. And then we just keep our fingers crossed watching the custom order thing because we got both of us bagging uplinks. We're just looking for those in the bag uplinks. We've been looking for them since episode 2.
If that happens, it's staying in the bag forever.
Yeah. And so we're just hunting. They just don't let us custom order uplinks. So what are you going to do? But so I think that one's coming out just so it's not like, okay, I got a zone, I got a Luna, I got a soul, I got buzzes, and then fairways. I'll talk about that in a second. So fairways, how you feeling?
I'm just an FD guy, I'm feeling good about the FD. I think what I found with the eDoog is I love that disc. It is such a good disc. But I was reminded, this is the danger. Like I was reminded on, it's just funny how like this, I was like looking through my disc racks behind me for, I know I had a K3 Hard Rico at one point. I think I gave it to somebody or I put it in the used bin. I don't know, but I was going to putt with that yesterday. I couldn't find it, but I found my stash of Grackles from Mint. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love that disc. And then lo and behold on Instagram yesterday, Mint put up a post that was like, what should we run, Grackles or Profits? And I of course was like, Grackles, and it's not even close. And they asked me what kind of Grackle. I said Nocturnal. I'll just be warned, if there's a Nocturnal Grackle coming out, that eDoog may be in trouble.
Ooh.
But what I will say is I think what I'm trying to get my like C-line FD to do, I might put the Grackle back in, because the Grackle, because my S-line FD I love, and it is just like flip up, it'll turn a little bit. It's like the other side. Like my S-line FD, it'll either go really straight with a little bit of finish, or it'll turn and have a little bit of finish. Like, and that's my error, not the disc error, right? So I'm at the spot in my game where I have to look at like, what is my error, and like, how do I compensate for that? I think the Grackle's the other way. It just tends to be a little more overstable, and I just can't. I don't know what it is. I don't like the C. I love S-line FD. I've thrown other FDs like Glow FDs, a base plastic FD. I like all of them, but like the C-line FD, I just cannot find the confidence in, and I think it's a grip issue. Like, I feel like it's slick for me, so I don't know what that is. But I think that slot I want, which is straight to slightly overstable, even if I like kind of give it ante on accident, the Grackle was always really good for me. It was like really straight and just like was a pushing Hyzer for me the whole time, which is what I want before. Now the E-Doog is a little more overstable than that for me.
Yeah.
So I think that little gap in the middle, I'm definitely feeling, because I'll pull out my C-line FD to like throw, because I know what shot I want, and I can't get the feel for it on the. I usually like early release the C-line FD, and I think it's a grip thing. I feel like it's just slick for me.
Yeah.
So I might put the Grackle back in right in that spot. Biggest change probably in my bag is I'm going to become a Raptor guy again. I'm taking the Vultures out. I'm just going. I'm taking the Firebird out. I'm just going. I'll have like I may go Captain's Raptor, then Raptor combo. I might do 2 Raptors. I might do like a beat in one that's still kind of the zone effect, like a Z Flex Jawbreaker zone to a zone, Z zone. Probably do something like that, and then a Captain's Raptor. I think I'm really going to focus on that 9-speed from like my overstable. And I love the Vulture. I really do. I think I'm just going to take it out and just go Raptors there, because I feel like there's a confusion for me on, okay, is my Raptor or is my Vulture like my overstable? Am I treating it like an overstable fairway for this shot, and then I'm trying to get a very overstable fairway, or is this do I want it to be straight? Like, I feel like it's like a weird bridge between my fairways and my distance drivers that I never really. I feel like I choose poorly 80% of the time. So I'm trying to I know what Raptors do. I used to bag them. I was pretty decent with them before. I've gotten a little better, so maybe I can really work them in the way that they need to be worked in. And on the understable side of my FD, I put my Jackalope back in. So I will say that I have a Sublime Jackalope now, and it is not very understable. So it kind of runs into my FD. So I don't know. That may not last, but for my really understable fairway, I may put the Diamond back in. The Diamond back in, not the Diamond back in, to clarify.
Mint's trying to sneak into so many people's bags.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
With just their phrases in general. No, I think it sounds really good. I like the idea of the Grackle being back in for you, man. Dude, you're just, when I think of the Grackle, you are the first person that comes to mind.
Oh, I was hype on it for sure. It's a good disc. So it's just like a slightly more overstable FD, which sounds great in my book. So yeah, that's kind of like my fairway. What do you got cooking, Discraft boy?
Yeah, call me Ezra Robinson. What can I say?
Yeah.
But no, it's so fairways on the flippy side. I've still got Ozones in there. Ozones are never. I literally couldn't tell you a world that an Ozone leaves my bag. Mm-hmm. Actually, because even if I get to be this crazy crusher where I throw 700 feet, it's my roller. It's just going to be there. And it's so fun how easy it is to throw that disc. Yeah. I'm actually thinking about, when I am there for All-Stars, if New London still exists 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, whenever I'm there, filming a video at New London and trying to see what I can do to score out there. Mm-hmm. And I think about how fun and easy I can throw an Ozone on that course, especially on the back nine, and just throw them on Hyzer and watch them stand up and have easy distance.
Yeah.
As opposed to throwing things a little more stable that are flat and trying to not yank them.
Right.
Just super, super cool. So I really enjoy the Ozone. I have 2 in my bag currently, just in case I lose one. I definitely have thrown my Ozones a lot. So they are flippier than even traditional Ozones. Jumping to the overstable side, I have Felons. Felons aren't going anywhere. I have a throwing Felon that's like pretty stock, straight. It's like a Sexton Firebird type deal. And then I have a really overstable one for like utility, flex, short shots, all that. The really overstable Felon is the least thrown disc in my bag by far. I would say if I'm throwing the Justice once every 3 rounds, I'm throwing that Felon once every 10 rounds. But there are shots that show up that I'm like, yep, that's that disc. Like it's there. The Trail, man, we talked about it all year. I had the Strive as the disc of the year for me. It was so there. The Strive is so gorgeous, so incredible. And the Trail still edged it out. Like I didn't want the Trail to edge it out. I wanted the Trail to be like really great, really awesome. But it's just sneaky. It goes so far and it is so easy to throw. The Trail is what everyone wants out of gyro drivers, but you can actually get the gyro effect to work.
Okay.
So Trail is sneaky good. You want to talk about throwing 400 feet, Brad? The Trail's your disc. Like it is.
I keep hearing that.
It is so good. If the Passion is the disc of the year, like let's say, I don't know that. I actually don't know because we're dropping stream. I think that drops charity streams tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the time y'all are watching this, it'll have already happened. So this is I've not been brought in any information. So I'm not even spoiling anything because I don't actually know. But let's say the Passion is the disc of the year for this year. All right, cool. I bet if we can have enough of them in stock, I would bet that the Trail is the disc of the year for 2025 for us as a retailer.
For sure. Yeah. They're in high demand, and I'll spoil the January subscription box a little bit. If you're subscribed, you're going to get one. Guys, I don't know how else I can say that.
Oh my gosh. I'm pumped because I have given away one. I'm getting another one in return that's died for a Lorcana die. And that'll be the only one I have. So I'm grateful that I'm part of the subscription box because now I'll have a backup, which feels awesome. So guys, Trail's so good. Here's where Discraft's sneaking in. Brad, do you know about this new AB mold that they've teased?
No. I know they've teased. I don't know anything else about it other than one thing I saw.
Okay, so you've thrown the Cicada.
Correct.
Beautiful disc. Easy flip. Goes so far. Like it is an effortless fairway. AB was like, I love the Cicada, but I can't throw it because it's too flippy for him. So they made essentially a Cicada OS.
Okay. That could be interesting.
AB is shown throwing videos of this, and it's like standing up for him and turning, but it's not flipping all the way over. And that's AB throwing it.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not going to put that much power into it. So I think that my Eagles are in trouble.
Uh-oh.
And it's going to be the Cicada OS and a Cicada holding that middle slot and then jumping over to the Ozones.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we don't even have a timeline of when that disc comes out. So I'm an Eagle boy until that comes. But the Eagles are looking over their shoulder. Let me tell you.
I never thought I'd know that. Okay. Wow.
So it's a shocking year for my bag.
We're like one mold away from me like stopping the episode and being like, listen, we got to have a talk. You told me if this ever happened, I gotta like come to you and
I can't be all one manufacturer.
Yeah. This is how it started with me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 Discraft molds. Now, to be fair, 7 Discraft molds. I also have 7 Trilogy drivers in my bag. So between my Felons and my Raiders. So
well, just saying, we're getting close to like intervention territory.
No, it's I trust me. I know. I feel it.
Right.
So I'm the Cicadas. I'm excited for whatever they're going to call it. I just hope it's not some silly name. Like, just please not some silly.
They should call it the Locust. That'd be cool, right?
Yeah, I could be down with that.
Is Is there another mold called the Locust though?
Disc golf.
I'm not sure.
Locust. There is. AGL has it.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. AGL, because there's tree. That's a tree also. So that's that's why I was thinking that.
What is a large body of cicadas called? It's got to be a swarm, right?
Yeah.
It's called a brood.
That would be cool.
That's so sick, dude.
The brood. Yeah, I might just throw that just because it's called the brood.
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay, guys.
All right, Bob Julio, we know you're listening to this. You know, you're
we got to shoot on that message now, dude.
I'll text him right now. I'll be like, hey, Bob, don't know if you already pulled a name for this, but you might want to stop because
but we actually just found it, Bob.
Yeah, I don't care what you're going to call it. It's not the AB cicada. It's now called the brood.
It's the brood.
Hey,
that's such a sick name, dude.
Yeah. So we may. I mean, hey, if they've already named it,
that's the thumbnail for that's the title of this episode. We named Discraft's new disc.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna get a call on that one, but I'm gonna put it up. We'll let it fly. Wow. Okay. Well, this has been a productive episode. So we'll see y'all next. Just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. Distance drivers. I tend to stay away from this category. However, I do want to start taking this part of my bag seriously this year.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really know what that looks like yet. I think experimenting with a Gorgon was good because it gave me some confidence there, and also the Strive. I don't think either one of those discs are the right discs for me in the distance driver category. I do think that you said the trail. I'm thinking of the trail more as a distance driver for me, less of a fairway.
That's fair. That's fair. I think it's on the line for even me.
It's a 10, right? So yeah, so I'm going to categorize that there. I think I need I think with the right form and timing, that will actually get me more distance. Just got to figure out the right discs. I don't typically like gyro drivers of any kind, so that might be a hard thing to overcome. However, I want to try it. We have some misprints. I'm going to try one. So I'm going to try one of those. So Eli, my middle son, he loves his Robbie C Wraith. Yeah. And he throws it so well, although he did donate it on a live stream the other day. So he was hype and he was very proud. He's like, hey, I love this disc. I wanted to give this guy this out of my bag. So good for him.
Good for him.
But the last time I threw that disc, I actually lost it for him because I threw it so far. I did not expect to throw it as far as I threw it. It was lighter. I think it was like 168 maybe, 168 Star Wraith. Yeah. But I do think the Wraith gives me, I could have like the confidence and like it has enough stability that I'm not going to like turn it over if I really try to crank it, but it will, I think, give me enough like turn and fade to give me full flight. Do you agree, Robbie, being a Wraith person?
Yeah. No, totally. That run of Wraiths bombed. Like, it was so good.
So I think maybe like just experimenting. So I don't really guess, I don't have like a lineup per se of what I want to throw. I do also like, I used to really like the Thrasher, and I'm thinking maybe Thrasher is a good disc for me to throw back in there too. Just something flippy enough that'll turn, like flippy enough to have the error, like to flip up if I put on too much Hyzer, or turn but not turn too much if I give it too much Hyzer when I'm trying to like change form and pump this out there. So
and if the Thrashers are too flippy, thankfully Captain's Thrasher.
Yeah, right. So I think that I think those three molds are one to experiment with. So Wraith, the Strive's coming out. The Strive I can throw really far, but is not consistent for me. I love how it feels. I think it's a great disc. I don't think the more and more I throw it, the less consistent I get with it, and I don't like that. And that's not the disc's fault. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Because when I do hit it and my timing's good, I throw it very far. But when I don't, it becomes a whole different disc for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's what I'm afraid with, and why I want to get more confident in the distance driver, and also coming back full circle, my form and timing is I know I can get more distance throwing some of these, especially like I'm not throwing a 14 speed, but throwing like a 11 speed disc or 10 or 11, I probably can, just mathematically scientifically get more distance if I can hit it right. But I'm also afraid that my error right now being inconsistent is going to make me pay for it. So I end up just having things above 9 speeds in my bag that I don't touch because I'm not confident. So yeah, Trail, Wraith, and the Thrasher / Captain's Thrasher are definitely all on my list to start working into my bag.
Yeah. And if I were you, I mean, if you're pulling one of the trails from the boxes, look for a lighter weight one, because that's going to help you a lot. Like, and when I say lighter weight, I don't mean like 150, but like a 165 to 168 they're super tough to hunt down. But when you get them, oh my goodness, like they crush.
Yeah.
They crush. So that is, the one I'm getting dyed is a max weight one. And I will try to hunt down a lightweight one as well. And I could see a world that if I have those, like that, I don't need 3 eagles. I just have 2 trails, and my eagles or my cicada, my broods are just. I mean, dude, I'm gonna shoot Bob a message after we hang up. Be like, hey man, I just checked the website. You haven't approved a disc yet.
Yeah.
Here's your name.
Yeah, and I mean, just think of the possibilities. You can do a stamp that's just like AB and somebody else on Team Discraft and just says Brood Dudes. I mean, dude, that's a great stamp idea.
Give me AB, like a caricature of AB standing like this, and then there's just like a storm of cicadas around him, like this just massive swarm. That's so sick. Man, I'll buy that shirt.
Oh, for sure.
Give me like Discraft on the front, because I'm a Discraft guy apparently. So
big Discraft guy here.
Drivers on my end, it's pretty business as usual.
Zeus,
I have 4.
Nuke,
I've got
Nuke
Zeus, a Nuke OS, and a Nuke SS. Those are my drivers. What can I say? And then I rounded it off with Hades, because someone's got to love the Hades.
Yeah,
apparently, it's just inconsistent. But what are you going to do? No, it's all Raiders. It's Raiders. It's 4 Raiders and a Defender. The Defender being silly overstable for big flexes. And then I have my Sasuke Raiders with the Sharingan and the Rinnegan. They look great. Nate dyed this Lorcana one for me. That is a Fusion Raider. That thing goes so far. Oh my goodness. My Sharingan Raider is my 169 gram red Raider, and it is like really starting to season in. So it's a little on the flippy side, which I like. I don't have a crazy flippy distance driver, and I think I'm okay with this, because if I need that big of a turnover, I'm throwing the ozone most of the time for that shot. And then if it's where I can't reach with the ozone, I usually don't feel confident enough anyways on the backhand. So I'm probably just going to one of my Raiders on a forehand. Like if a shot shapes that far right for me, and it's that far, I'm just going to bomb a forehand down there versus trying to throw this like touchy, because most of the time if I have to get that angle right or wrong, I'm going to burn it over and it's going to roll, or it's going to fight out for me, and then I'm in trouble anyways. So the 4 Raiders and the Defenders, that is the most like, it's funny you talk about the mids where you were most confident in. That is exactly where I feel the most confidence for my game right now. The only thing I could see that changing is if it's like all of a sudden the distance gains that I'm working on start hitting, and it's like, oh, Raiders are a little flippier than I anticipated them being. But I don't anticipate that, because they worked for Ricky too. So like Ricky's throwing farther than I probably ever plan on throwing. So I love my Raiders. I think they're great. Looking forward to another year with them, and trying to get more people in the Raider gang. Trevor and I are sitting here strong, and it's one day we'll do a small run of Raiders of some fun stamps. Maybe Trevor and I would do a little co-stamp together. That'd be a fun time.
Raider boys. I think that'd be great. Hey,
we get us and Kelsey on a stamp. Raider Nation.
I think just you and Trevor dressed up as Raiders cheerleaders. I think that's the stamp.
Trevor and I dress as Raiderettes. And
that's
we get
funny.
Kelsey's approval.
Just Brody shaking his head. Oh, he couldn't be on the stamp, but we just know he's shaking his head. Like we just know that. One thing I did forget. I skipped over my lifts because I've been throwing them. Those are my like forehand specific discs. Again, something I'm also trying to do. I'm going to take the lifts out completely.
Okay.
And I'm just relying on the Raptors for forehand. That's why I want one that's like a little less overstable. But what I'll say is I unlocked some more distance on my forehand. Like the E-Doog right now, I can throw probably consistently 285 to 300 on forehand. Pretty consistent.
Let's go.
So I don't know now, but what it has done, like my release is now not like super hyzer. It's actually more flat. And if I really pull on it, it's a little Annie. So I don't even know if I want to correct that, but I started to like loading it up higher, Robbie, and it's like helping me come down into the forehand with a little bit more spin, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not like up here. I'm not doing the like, I call it the 10 soldier walk up where you just like do and do that. But I kind of like load it up this way, like at a 45. Before I was kind of like leaning over and had it flat. Now I'm kind of like, I mean, I was a baseball player. It's like, why don't I just throw this like a baseball? Yeah. I know, which is probably a terrible analogy for what you should do, but in my mind,
it's perfect. It's perfect.
So I just wind up like I'm throwing a baseball, give a little crow step or a crow hop, like I was gonna just throw a baseball, and I'm getting the spin. I'm getting is like way, because before I'd have like a pretty low rotation forehand, and now I'm getting some more spin, and it's coming out a little bit more aggressive. So I'm gonna, again, between the E-Doog and the Raptors, that's what I'm going to do there. The lifts are coming out. And then for this, and what made me think of that was also the Thrasher. I used to forehand a Thrasher, and it was too, quote unquote, overstable for me then. So I'd be curious to see how it is now. Again, just in the theme of, let's put something in that I can throw both backhand and forehand comfortably.
Yeah. Dude, that sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to playing. Looking forward to seeing how it goes with All-Star. Because that'll be I guess, the first taste of getting to see these bags together.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, All-Star Weekend's coming up, so we're going to be filming that soon, and I'm looking forward to that competition as always. Hopefully, I get my Ricos like turned back on by then. That would be nice. But yeah, no, I'm excited as well, and I think coming back to my comment at the beginning of the episode is, I'm just trying to like give myself a little grace and try to work into this stuff as I'm changing my form, just be flexible. And like, if there's a time where the FD is not working, although I love the FD, if it has to come out, it has to come out. I think just not being so locked into my bag and locked into like, I'm only throwing this on backhand, I'm only throwing this on forehand, just trying to be a little bit more open. And I think that will hopefully, that open-mindedness will give me like ability to grow this year, which is really just my overall goal.
Okay. Yeah. I'm here for it. I'm here for. It's going to be a big year, Brad. It's going to be a big year. Mm-hmm. I am stoked for what we've got on the table. I was looking at our In the Bag YouTube channel, and I wanted to make sure that I was like had the right number in my head. And I think we're at like 1,000. We're like 1,200, something like that. Let me see. How many subs are we at? Yeah, 1.5. Yeah. 1.5. I think we are going to make a push. Let's make a push. If you're listening, if you're a listener on podcast platforms, head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to start thinking of and planning for a big giveaway at 5K subs.
Okay. I'll do the same. We'll just make it. I'll do one for 2,500. That way we'll hit 2 milestones.
Okay. I love it. So if you're a listener and you're not subscribed on the YouTube channel, head over there, click the buttons. We love and are grateful for the support. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to what this year has to offer. Another thing I'm looking forward to is, Brad, you got a whole warehouse of discs in front of you.
I do.
What's new?
So we're still in like that slowdown season. We're starting to see like the manufacturers pick back up. One thing that's coming out this week is the Mint Salamander, which has I think that might be what I want the Jackalope to be realistically. So Connor and I are going to go out and review that next week for the disc review channel, aka Foundation Labs, if you haven't seen that. So I'm hoping that kind of works its way in my bag. It's an understable fairway from Mint. So should be a really interesting add to their lineup. The one of the designs they have on the Sublime ones looks like the old Sobe bottles with like the salamander on those, which is kind of funny. So that's a good time. As far as other discs, I think the new releases, like the Prodigy new releases, are going to be out next week. They're not going to be in the warehouse this week. We do have our sub boxes. I did tease one of those already. You are getting a trail, custom stamp trail, by the way. We ordered those many months ago. Or we thought of them many months ago, and actually MVP hooked us up, like the best turnaround time maybe ever of any manufacturer we've ever had.
Wow.
So yeah, that team over there stepped it up, and just a shout out to them if any of them or anyone knows any of those folks. But really, really excellent job from them. Just exciting year. I think we're going to be working closer with them, so that'll be awesome. We're also you're getting 4 discs this month, not 3. And the swag item is the most value swag item we've ever put in the box.
Wow.
So this is a month to get on board, because next month, also crazy. We're actually doing, I'll tease this. We're doing a custom run of discs, not just custom stamp, but custom run. So custom plastic and custom stamp of one of the discs in next month's box, with a crazy swag item. So just buckle up. The next couple months are going to be wild. We're really like digging in deeper than ever on these sub boxes. So make sure you check that out. We're going to be updating our Hyzer Club store to include some goodies. So if you're not a Hyzer Club member, now's the month to do that. Also, if you sign up for the year on a couple tiers, you can actually get an invite to the Hyzer Club Championship. So be looking out for some of the teasers and testimonials from that. It's always a good time as well. We're also working on several other at this point, I'm talking like 6 or 7 other projects behind the scenes.
Big times here, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. A couple of them are going to be, one of them I'll just tease, is going to be a foundation product, or a foundation branded product of something that you already love. It's a collab product. So heads up for that. One new series of product that you already love. So that's one of them. One, something you use all the time, that's just getting a new vibe. I'll say that. Yeah. And then one thing you're just not going to expect. 2 things you're just not going to expect. So although there may not be a lot of discs coming in at the moment, where you got a lot of stuff working and it's just going to explode all at once, I'm working on, let's look at the count, Robbie. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 new stamps currently.
Come on, people.
One of them is a Robbie C stamp that I think I teased to you last week, but it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah. Well, y'all, we are looking forward to all the new stuff coming, all the new major projects, and we hope you are as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We hope you have an amazing rest of your week. And if it's good,
keep in the bag. We'll see you all next week.